And where's Godzilla?
18 field, max power!
What are you, stupid?
It's time to show the world what you can do.
Hello everybody, welcome to Dyname, the Dai Kaiju and Anime podcast, where today it is me, T, and we got Nick.
Hello, hello.
And we are going to be going over the upcoming media for 2025 that has us interested. We got quite a few things, but before we get into that, let's get the usual out of the way. If you have a comment, question, or need to correct us about something stupid we said, go ahead and email us at dynamapodcast@gmail.com. We will respond to that in the next episode. The crux of this podcast, like what this is, we're giving our opinions on kaiju and anime media. We are not necessarily Wikizilla per se, or a facts-based show. This is opinion-based. We talk about what we think about stuff. It's not always going to be factual, so if we do get things wrong, please do forgive us. But today, I think I got everything right. We're just going over release dates, so let's dive into the upcoming media, starting with the currently airing media. Up first, we have the anime Red Ranger Isekai, and this anime is essentially not too different from a lot of other isekais where a character dies, wakes up in a fantasy world, except the twist is it's a Power Ranger, or more a Sentai, and the show does a lot with that. They have a lot of good jokes, like every time he poses, there's an explosion, you gotta look out for that. All of his weapons talk, and some of the characters will find that annoying. They definitely really play into the Sentai tropes, and you can tell there was a lot of love for Sentai when they made this. It's not just making fun of that. This show is, I believe, on episode 11, and it ends in a week or two. You have time to catch up, and I would highly recommend this one. It's been pretty funny, and the only negatives I would say is there is quite a bit of fan service, which is very hit or miss for people, I know. And the fight scenes and things are not the most animated. This is a lower budget anime, so if you're looking for more, Dragon Ball, things like that, this just isn't going to have that kind of stuff. But they do work with what they have, and what they have, well, they make it work well. If you want to watch this is on Crunchyroll, and it is also receiving an English dub.
With Red Ranger Isekai, it's so funny, like, how isekais can bridge so many different genres because of what they pull from, and the theoretical where X person who fell asleep or died is gonna go next in life. And seeing some of the stuff with Red Ranger Isekai, it's funny that you mentioned the animation not being as good because it's lower budget for the fight scenes, but I think back to, and this is gonna date me a little bit, 1993, when Mighty Morphin Power Rangers came out. And you see those fight scenes, and they're not crisp, and they're not polished, and they're not like anything we have in certain animes and later iterations. So it's kind of like seeing some of it takes me back to that, and there's a nostalgia factor there.
It is also always cool when they call the mech in, because it's like that show is a lot of fun, because it's all these like wizards and whatnot, and they get in the mech and they're flying. They're like, wait, isn't heaven supposed to be up here? What's this? What's outer space? And just all of their ideals are being destroyed by Super Sentai.
Congratulations, your world has some level of realism.
Moving on from the Sentai, or actually I guess we'll stay on that. We also have number 1 Sentai Gozuger, which is the 50-year anniversary special for Super Sentai. That is airing right now. It is on episode 4, and I have been loving this show. It is so much fun. I didn't realize how much I missed it until we didn't get an episode last week. The fight scenes are some of the coolest, most stylized things I've ever seen. It's all fighting game inspired, and seeing basically a Red Ranger or Red Sentai just combo somebody into oblivion and then make them explode while they pose, that that's just been awesome to see every week. Do you have any interest in checking out this one, or?
I might. My brother is definitely the Sentai king, and knows so much more than I do. Has probably seen. I mean, what are they at? This is the 49th Sentai.
Yeah, it's year 50, but I know it's
Year
not
50.
like it. I know they take breaks, so it's like it's
Right.
year 50, but show like 49 or something.
So looking up just some info because I wasn't familiar with this prior to the episode. It is the 49th installment in Toei's Super Sentai series. 50th anniversary, 49 Sentai series. And each one seems to get crazier. Like
Oh,
I've
yeah.
skipped a few, but when I get back in and I see a bit, I'm like, wow, they have really climbed the ladder a bit.
When he transforms in the new one, and it's like clap your hands, and you got to start dancing. We were just like, we're doing this. We're doing this. This okay?
They're doing it.
All right, we're in.
They go, look, listen, the idea pool is broad. It doesn't have to be deep.
It has been fun though. They definitely are like having fun with their goofy concepts. And the only negative for me is this is an anniversary season. I am missing some of the references. I know, like, I think Go Ranger or Go O Ranger showed up, King Ogre showed up, and I'm like, I know of them. This is the first, this new Sentai, this is the first one I'm like fully watching, so it's definitely been interesting with all that. And it's helping me kind of get into some of the other ones, because when there are cameos, I have checked out those shows too. I have heard it's not a bad one to start with, so I'm going to recommend this as well. Only 4 episodes in, so it would be easy to catch up for people. Anything else to say about number 1, Gozuger, before we move on?
Nothing else from me. I will check it out. The 50th anniversary, yeah, I've missed quite a few, but I'll give this a watch.
It was the thing that actually got me to watch it was they had a special with Kamen Rider Decade, Kamen Rider Legend, and another anniversary Sentai, where they like hype up the new one to be like, no, you're worth it. It doesn't matter if you're not the 50th show. Like, you are the 50th Sentai in a way. And then like Kamen Rider Legends, like, I'm not even from an anniversary show, and I'm an anniversary rider, so that was funny. But speaking of Kamen Rider, our last currently airing media to talk about is Kamen Rider Gav. And this might be the best Kamen Rider show in a long, long time. I got back into Kamen Rider when Shin Kamen Rider came out, and I watched a lot of Geats, and I really, really liked Geats. I thought that was definitely one of the better seasons. But Gav has just been incredible. It's the only Kamen Rider or Sentai show I've watched where the fight scenes are not my favorite part of the episodes. It's the talking, the character relationships. I love Hanto. He's one of my favorite Kamen Riders now. There's just so much good in Kamen Rider Gav. If you haven't watched Kamen Rider, this is a great entry season. My girlfriend is watching this alongside me, and she is loving it. We always get snacks together when we watch this show, and yeah, I highly, highly, highly recommend Kamen Rider Gav. It's about halfway through the season right now, so if you wanted to hop on, you can still definitely catch up.
This is a wild ride. Kamen Rider has always been in a league of its own. I love the designs of the Kamen Riders. The color scheme, the costumes and the color scheme always just seem to be in a battle to one up whatever the previous series was. Gav's super bright blues, purples, and yellows like have him stand out as our main protagonist. But like the other Kamen Riders, like what have we like Vram and Bake? Bake, oh my gosh! And then it's all candy themed, like that. There's something sweet going on there.
Oh yeah, Vram he's like one of my favorite Kamen Riders now. It's just, he never gets a victory, which has been kind of hard to watch, but He's trying, and I love that for him. But moving on from the currently airing, now we're getting into the meat of it. This is all of the stuff coming out throughout the year that I've written down. If we missed anything, again, that you think we should have talked about, just hit up that email. One more time, it's dynamitepodcast@gmail.com. Just send us something, and we will respond. So, starting us off on April 5th, Gamera Rebirth Remastered. The Netflix Gamera anime, which came out, I believe, a year or two ago, is being re-edited into a 12-episode anime from 6 to 12, and based on the trailer we got, the visuals, the CGI has actually been updated. I don't know how far they're going to go with this, but at least the shot of Gamera looking down at the kids has been updated, and I can't think of another time they've done this with a like kaiju piece of media. I know every now and then anime gets this stuff with like their Blu-ray releases, but have you seen Gamera Rebirth? And if you have, or even if you haven't, how do you feel about them going back and kind of touching up the visuals for the TV broadcast version, Japanese broadcast version?
I didn't see it when it first aired, but I am interested in seeing it now. Gamera doesn't rank very high on my, like, I absolutely have to watch this kaiju media list or tier, but he's still an amazing character, and I really do agree with going back and touching these up. First runs, when, be it a show or a movie or an infamous trailer, where a design has been absolutely lambasted or ridiculed or criticized, it shows some care on behalf of the studio and the artists to go back and to touch things up or to improve on their work based on feedback from the fans. Because ultimately, this material is made to make a profit and to satisfy fans. And if it's not succeeding at the latter, then it's not going to succeed at the former.
Very well put, very well put. I would agree with, like, I love Gamera, but I'm not out there, like, needing to watch all of his media. Like, I'm not out there getting all the manga or getting all that stuff like with Godzilla. And for me, I do really like Rebirth because it is made by the people who made the anime trilogy, and it has a lot of similarities. So, like, for that reason, I like it, but that kind of does mean, you know, I like Gamera because this one reminds me of Godzilla. Sorry, Gamera. He'll always be, you know, second place.
It'll be interesting as these studios that are showing their potential begin to kind of branch out and do multiple different kaiju films and media, and to see what gets combined eventually.
I agree, because if they build Gamera up, is Toho gonna make an offer? Is Legendary gonna let Godzilla go and let Gamera take over? You know, these are all just wild ideas, but yeah, they all want to lead to something that makes them money, so we know crossovers definitely help with that. Yep. Moving on from Gamera Rebirth, on April 8th, we have Gundam G-Quacks streaming on Amazon Prime. Now, this show, I saw the movie, which was like the first 3 episodes. It was phenomenal. And after that, I went and watched the original Gundam. If you are a fan of the original Gundam, you need to check out Gundam G-Quacks, at least just the beginning part. It's a really interesting take on what if events in Gundam 79 played out different, and how just some tiny little differences could have the biggest, you know, butterfly effect. We have the director of Fooly Cooly directing this, and I will say you can definitely tell, and I was happy about that. And Hideaki Anno is writing, and yeah, you can also definitely tell, and I was happy about that. Nick, have you seen any Gundam stuff? For me personally, this is the first Gundam show I've seen anything of. Have you seen any Gundam media, and do you think you'll be checking this one out?
I've seen plenty of Gundam media, and this is going to date me again. When Gundam Wing debuted on March 6th of 2000 on Toonami, I could not get enough of Gundam. Like, that kicked off a fire. Seeing the animation style, seeing the design. I love mecha. I adore mecha. It scratches a special itch for me. So I dropped off, I think, when Gundam Seed came out because I really didn't like the animation style change. And I have only just gotten back into Gundam with Iron-Blooded Orphans. So now it's kind of been catching back up and taking a look at different Gundam media. And this, how do you pronounce it again?
G-Quacks. Trust me, I didn't know until the movies, they were saying it. It's like,
I think,
like a duck. Yeah.
right. I think I'm interested in checking this one out for sure. The animation style and kind of the liberties of what the Gundams look like. I have loved that the Gundam design has been able to change over time, but when you look at one, you still know what the heck it is. So it's been fascinating how the artists of Gundam series get to explore that and kind of show things off. And also, we got Char Aznable, and everyone's got to get a little bit of Char.
Yeah, I did not know who Char was before last week, and he is my favorite character in the original and in that. I love him. I get he might not be a good guy, but he's awesome. He's cool. He's got the red one. Now I get why Unit 2 is red.
From Universal Century, I'll tell you right now, he's not the good guy.
Dang it. He seems...
But it's...
Not to dive too much into Gundam, so I watched the first recap movie, and I'm going to get through the next two soon. So, I'm like a third through the original series, and it seems like both sides aren't necessarily evil. Like, I get Zeon attacked, but it's like, you see casualties on both sides, you see tragedies on both sides. To me, it's just war is messy, war is bad.
It is, and I like that when the Gundam series can kind of show that off, but Char Aznable is kind of, I feel like, the archetype for a continuous character throughout several very big Gundam series. So in Gundam Wing, you had Zex Marquis, and Zex Marquis is kind of just the Char Aznable of Wing. You fast forward to Iron-Blooded Orphans, and you have McGillis Farid, and McGillis Farid is kind of another Char Aznable, Zex Marquis trope kind of style character. And I'll roll something back. They're not necessarily bad guys, but it definitely, those characters help blur the line of where good and bad is and help to kind of solidify, yeah, war is hell, and Gundam, if anything, has been able to show that really well.
Yeah, if you have not seen Gundam and maybe you're more into the giant monster stuff than the anime stuff, I do highly recommend it still. The mechs have weight to them, at least from what I've seen. They are not these superhero robots. They are giant walking tanks, essentially. They are machines for war, and the newest one, Quacks, looks like Kamen Rider stronger, so that's cool. Moving on from Gundam, on April 13th, we have a extremely limited theatrical showing of Kaiju number 8, Mission Recon. This will be a movie that recaps Season 1. Season 2 is coming out later this year, so I think it's nice that they're doing this, and I believe this will be in theaters for about 3 days. I might check this out. I thought Kaiju number 8 was fine. Like, I didn't think it was bad at all, but it was just very... It was fine. It was fine. If you saw my episode on it, it was very short because I did not have much to say, and... Yeah, I don't know if you've seen it, Nick, if you have any thoughts on Kaiju number 8.
I've checked out a little bit of Kaiju number 8. I haven't watched the entire series, and I probably will give it a good shake, and when I have some time, I think I will go through it. It's got an interesting story. It's an interesting take on kind of blending some of the stuff we've seen with Kaiju media and also, like, Ultraman media, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
like,
yeah, for sure.
The transformation styles and how the characters kind of interact feels like a really interesting blend of a couple of different media that we've seen. So I'll give it a try. I like the art style. I like the design of the main character, especially when he's transformed. He looks gnarly as hell.
Yeah, I will say the scenes where it literally just when he punches stuff in that form, I was just the scene happens, it ends, I'm sitting there, and, the credits are playing, I'm like, all right, One Punch Man, you got to step up your game, because, oh my goodness, like the strobe effects, the 3D, the 2D, it's like all of the animation goes all out for the actual kaiju in Kaiju number 8. So, yeah, I will agree with that for sure. He looks awesome. And he's in Fortnite, so that's fun. Speaking of Fortnite, we have on April 17th, Colorful Stage, the movie A Miku Who Can't Sing will be entering North American theaters. This will be playing for only 3 days, I believe, 17 through 20, and I'm very excited for that. Miku has always been around in my life, I guess you could say. I got her in Fortnite, and I even before I watched anime or really knew what it was, I knew what Hatsune Miku was because I liked the music, and I got into the rhythm games, and I've been playing through those through console generations, so I'm really happy about this. We're actually getting a Hatsune Miku movie. I know for years and years and years people have wanted a Miku anime, and we're basically finally getting it. One little note I did notice on G-Kid's website, the distributors, they said this is Miku's first theatrical film. She did appear in Shinkalion with Shinji Ikari and Snow Godzilla, but other than that, yes, this is her movie. That, I guess, is the biggest difference. Are you going to be checking this one out, Nick? Or is it too much Miku for you? With the Fortnite and everything going on recently.
Hatsune Miku is fun for a lot of folks. It just has never been my bag. So I support it, and I'm happy for everybody that goes and checks it out. It's a really cool premise, and the character is very vibrant, and that's about it. I don't have much more on this one.
Yeah, no, I mean, the thing, I always find it fun when people find out, Miku is a program for your computer to make music. And they're like, what do you mean? She's an anime girl. I'm like, that's what the picture on the box is. But yeah, no, she is just a program people use to make music, so she can be whatever the song wants. She can be, Nyan Cat to gunning people down in risky reels. So I'm very interested to see how they portray her in the movie. But moving on from Miku, so this one is a little bit of an outlier for us. It's not necessarily a kaiju thing or an anime thing, but on April 23rd, Bullet Train Explosion premieres on Netflix. This is a remake of a 1975 film, which got another remake, and I don't know the name of it, but it got an American remake called Drive, which is about a bus that's got a bomb on it that if the bus slows down, it's going to blow up. Essentially, that's what these movies are about. Vehicle, usually a train, it's got an explosion on it, or an explosive device on it. If it slows down, it'll blow up. Shinji Higuchi of Shin Godzilla and Shin Ultraman fame will be directing this one, and there will be practical effects. Are you familiar with any of the previous movies, and if you are or not, how excited are you for this one?
I am familiar with the original The Bullet Train. If just because after I saw the movie Speed with Keanu Reeves, at least I believe it was Speed. It was the bus with Sandra Bullock, Keanu Reeves, Dennis Hopper, and them. After that, I was kind of like, where did this idea of not being able to slow down come from? And a lot of it does harken back to The Bullet Train from 1975. And it is a fascinating film. So seeing a remake of it using today's technology will be great. Apparently, what did I just read? The East Japan Railway Company supports it. So they provided actual trains and railway facilities for it. So just seeing that level of like commitment to remaking this older film and giving it a new splash is, I'll give this a watch for sure.
I think it's cool that the trailer referenced Shin Godzilla too. That it's, you said, like, Shinji Higuchi, director of Shin Godzilla, which he did co-direct. And the practical effects, I'm guessing that'll just be at the end of the movie when the train blows up. But I am excited for that. It's gotta blow up. It's called Bullet Train Explosion. It's going to blow up, I'm assuming. That also, just the idea of a bullet train, like how fast that's going, that could be a really intense movie. But moving on from that, that sums up our April. Going on to May. Now this is speculated. We got an image from the Godzilla manga that said May 27, so we're guessing that is when the manga will begin releasing. The author is, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing any of these, Ju Ishiguchi, who is also doing the mech design. Godzilla will get a brand new design by Shinji Nishikawa, who has done so much kaiju art and stuff. He did a bunch of art for Gridman. He's done a ton of Ultraman stuff. He did all the art for the anime trilogy Godzilla Blu-ray boxes. He is phenomenal. I've met him in person. Super nice guy. And
his filmography is a laundry list as long as I am tall.
Nick is tall,
everything Sentai and Godzilla and kaiju, and how much he's been involved in is bonkers.
I think it's fair to say for the manga, like, you know, you can argue movies or not, but I think this guy more than deserves to have his Godzilla design, his own Godzilla, with all the work he's done for the medium and everything so far. And then we have a space monster designed by Hiroshi Maruyama. And all we know about the manga so far is apparently it is a battle between humanity, Godzilla, and an unknown space monster. Do you think this unknown space monster is going to be King Ghidorah or Space Godzilla, or do you think we are going to get a new monster?
I think it could be any number of... I think it's completely up in the air. Seeing that, first things that kind of came to mind, Monster Zero getting, you know, our Ghidorah, just because Ghidorah is so iconic, but we could also get a newly designed Gigan. Or we could get a newly designed Space Godzilla. We could get... what's another big... We could get a new Orga. Like,
Ooh.
We haven't seen a new Orga in a long time. So just listing it as Space Monster leaves it so up in the air. And given Hiroshi Maruyama's background with the Ultraman series, it's anybody's guess what this thing is going to look like.
Yeah, I mean, part of me wants a Toho monster, but I have a feeling they are going to go original, and I am excited for that. I'm also just a new Godzilla manga that could hopefully get like an English release. You know, manga and anime is so much like bigger now. I really hope this is the Godzilla manga that like gets overseas. I hope it's well written, and if it does well enough, I would like to think it could lead to it getting an anime, hopefully, and then maybe that could be the Godzilla anime we've always dreamed of. We won't know until the manga comes out, obviously, but
right.
I'm really excited for this one, yeah.
Some of the media that I'm finding, just surface level, is listing that the space monster is a brand new monster. So this could be a brand new original creation that's joining the grand tapestry that is Godzilla media.
That would be really cool if they a new monster got introduced like in a manga, and then it got, you know, an animated adaptation, and we got to see it in motion. You know, like, that would just be cool to have like a brand new Godzilla universe, a new foe. But with the mech designer also mentioned, that has me hoping and wondering if we're going to get Mechagodzilla or Jet Jaguar, things like that. We're going to get something mech-wise.
As much as I in certain episodes trounce your love of Mechagodzilla, I would honestly prefer to see a new Mechagodzilla, given how we got teased hard in Singular Point, and that's never going to pay off. And we got a new Jet Jaguar from Singular Point. I I would love to see a new manga design for Mechagodzilla. I think that'd be pretty sweet. But something that you mentioned with seeing this new space monster, if it ever hit the big screen, you know who I'd like to see pick it up and run with it?
Who?
Legendary.
Oh yeah, because they are trying to do more.
Aliens.
They were, yeah, and they had like that. I can't like Monarch G Team animated project that kind of seems to have gone nowhere.
Yep.
Maybe this could.
I honestly want them to explore. So we can confirm from King of the Monsters that Ghidorah was an alien kaiju, was an alien titan. So what other alien titans are out there that we could see?
You didn't mean like Legendary would make an animated series. You mean Legendary could take this new monster and put it in the MonsterVerse.
Yeah, and it could be a MonsterVerse villain. And I think that would be the way to go because we just went into Earth. Now let's go out of Earth.
That definitely does seem like the only frontier left for the MonsterVerse. We've had like 2 journeys to the center of the Earth, and it does feel like space is where we're going next. And the actor who plays Trapper did hint space. He literally just said, "Watch this, space."
I know, right? And we all had a blow up over that.
Space Godzilla, please.
Space Godzilla.
It sounds like we're really excited for this, and I think that also would be really cool because that'd be a way to bring in a new monster, but it is still a Toho monster. It could like satisfy both camps of fans that way. But moving on, that is all we have for May. In June, on June 20th, Hot Springs Shark Attack, after being picked up by Utopia, is going to have its English language premiere at the Chattanooga, Film Festival in Tennessee. This will be virtual and in person. Yep. This will be virtual and in person. If you go in person, they're going to have a big beach party for the movie. It's going to be a lot of fun. And if you want to see it virtually, it'll be $225 per ticket. So I will not be attending, unfortunately. There will be further release details to follow, and hopefully this does get like a limited theatrical release. I know Utopia helped with Megalopolis, which I didn't hear was good, but it was in theaters. So the reason Hot Springs Shark Attack is something to keep your eye on is because this is a movie that is promoted as a tokusatsu kaiju shark film. It has giant, I don't know if it has mechs, but I know it has giant weaponry. It has a lot of cool practical effects. They filmed it where a lot of Ultraman stuff was filmed. And the director, I believe, has won some independent kaiju film awards before. So this is essentially a Japanese kaiju shark tokusatsu movie, and that has me super excited. Do you think you're going to check this out when it comes out, or is this a pass for you?
These shark movies just kill me every time. If we do some sort of watch for this, yeah, I'll watch it. I'm not gonna check it out on my own. I'm gonna have to get dragged kicking and screaming to see this thing.
Oh, if it's in theaters, I will. That is exactly what I'm gonna do. I'll show up.
You'll come over to my house and just drag me out to go see it.
No, please, no. I'll tell you it's the Jaws 50th anniversary screening, and then you'll be like, wait a minute.
That's so mean.
That also,
Yeah.
I don't have a date for
See
that,
it
but
with you.
Jaws will be in theaters a lot this year for its 50th anniversary showing, and
I'll check
it's kind
that
of a
out.
kaiju film, so yeah. Moving,
It's the original American kaiju.
I mean, it's a giant. Is Jaws tokusatsu? It is a giant animatronic shark.
Tokusatsu.
Is Jaws tokusatsu? When are we gonna get the Reiwa era of the Jaws films?
I don't. Reiwa era Jaws was like the B
Sharknado.
films.
The Sharknado.
Sharknado, Sharktopus. That's its Reiwa era, and we need to move on.
We need Shin Jaws, where it's just a good movie.
Shin Jaws, isn't that just? I mean, well, we got the Meg movies too.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
Now
No
so
word
Shin
on a
Jaws
third of
is going to be a
those.
megalodon that somehow survived and got irradiated, and it's going to be a giant cancer monster shark.
It's just like floats there the whole time and just gives you like tumors. It doesn't even attack.
It doesn't even eat you; it just gives you cancer.
In the first movie, the yellow barrels were attached to the shark. In this movie, the shark is the yellow barrels. Just floats.
The shark is just emitting a strange yellow cake.
I do know the actor for Jaws, the Hooper. He is in a new shark movie also this year. Maybe we'll do a shark roundup thing later, but let's get out of the shark stuff and into some more Steven Spielberg-esque things, because on July 2nd, Jurassic World Rebirth will be coming out, and Gareth Edwards, the man, the myth, the legend, who gave us the Monsterverse with Godzilla 2014, is directing. Now, the Titanosaurus in the trailer did have some fins on its neck and tail that kind of made me think it was a reference to the Titanosaurus kaiju. I don't know if we're really going to get a lot of Godzilla references or things in this, but Gareth is directing. I thought we'd mention it because he did give us the whole Monsterverse. The Spinosaurus is coming back, so I'm going to be there. Are you going to be taking a trip out to the island this summer to go see some dinosaurs as well?
I will. I saw the original Jurassic Park in theaters. I went with my dad. He brought me and my brother. I was in awe of what they pulled off in that original film, and yeah, it's gotten campy over the years. But we'll see where this goes. Gareth Edwards, yeah, an amazing person, amazing director when it comes to this style of films. Like, I mean, we love him on the podcast because he gave us the Monsterverse, but we also have to remember he directed Monsters. He was an executive producer for Monsters Dark Continent. That was where he cut his teeth on films like this. So, giving him control of the Jurassic Park franchise could be a huge boon for them. And from the trailers, I'm intrigued.
I can't think of a director who's had a better run in Hollywood, honestly. He made an independent monster movie with all of his, a lot of his own work and money and blood, sweat, and tears. He, like you said, produced the sequel to that. At least executively produced. He got to go from his independent kaiju film to the biggest kaiju property of all time and made an American Godzilla movie. Then he went to the biggest movie franchise of all time and made Rogue One for Star Wars, which sounds like that's the best thing that Disney Star Wars has ever done, because besides Rogue One, the only thing I've heard people like is that Acolyte show, which is like connected to that. I haven't seen that, but I did like Rogue One. And then Gareth, after that, he's doing Jurassic Park. Like, oh my goodness. Like, I feel like that's every director's dream. Just all of these big franchises being handed to him. And so far, he's done great. Not to mention, I forgot he did do The Creator last year as well.
He did The Creator, yep.
Sci-fi movie.
If there's another actor in that same boat of like, and I want them to hand them an amazing series or franchise and see where they go with it, it's Neil Blomkamp.
Oh yeah.
So, but Gareth Edwards, you're right, has had a meteoric rise. He's a sound filmmaker, a very sound producer and director, and he makes great product. he can be expected to make great product. So it's a step in the right direction.
They got the writer for the original Jurassic Park working on it too, and I feel like Gareth's only flaw is his characters, but that's kind of not his fault. He's not writing the movies, so I agree that's huge. I think this could be a slam dunk, like a really good Jurassic movie, because Jurassic World 1, 2, 3, they're up and down in my opinion. They have, like, even when I love parts in them, they'll have a scene that I can't stand. But
did you ever see the canceled Jurassic Park 3 script?
With
have
the
you ever
human
read that?
Dinosaur things?
Not just like the human dinosaurs, but like the controlled raptors and just how bonkers it was. It's crazy how much of that screenplay has been adapted to the last round of Jurassic Park films.
Well, I was gonna say, I know the cartoon is like crazy. There's like raptors that like love, like there's a lady who's got her own raptors that like actually listen to her. There's robot dinosaurs.
The cartoon is deep in the paint.
Yeah, dude. Like I think someone was like, just an update on Jurassic lore. The reason the volcano explodes in the second movie is because the robot dinosaurs dug down. I'm like, the what? The what? What happened to these being animals in a zoo? Yeah. I do hope Gareth is able to give us just that these are animals again, but he's got that giant mutant dinosaur thing, so we'll see how that all... We'll see. Moving on from Jurassic World, also in July, we don't have a date for these yet, I believe, but Kaiju number 8, Season 2 will start airing in July. We both kind of shared our thoughts already on that. You know, looks cool. Maybe not the best thing we've ever seen, but we might check this out. But then something I am extremely excited for, Dan to Dan Season 2 will be coming out in July as well. I mean, if you love giant monsters and you love anime, this is one of the best shows ever. You got references to modern stuff like Shin Godzilla, you get references to old stuff like Alien Dada and Alien Baltan, and it's all wrapped up in this really cool alien and yokai themed story. I almost feel like this is the modern day Fooly Cooly. This is the weird must-see anime of our time.
I was thinking the same thing. Dan to Dan is just, if you took like One Punch Man and Fooly Cooly and a bunch of just in the moment animes and mangas or web series, and you smashed that stuff together and you actually made a solid product out of it. Dan to Dan is hilarious.
And it's good. Like, we did little watch parties for the last episode and stuff. Like, we all met up, made some snacks, and I mean, I think we can both say, just, you know, us being us, that Shin Godzilla reference was amazing.
Oh,
amazing.
I lost my mind.
I'm looking forward to Season 2. I've been told we might get some Kamen Rider references, we might get more Godzilla stuff. And even if you're not into all that stuff, if you're more of an anime fan, still check this one out. Like, it is just that good. I think it was the best, like, it's the best anime in a long time, in my opinion, in the way that it is good. I'm not saying there hasn't been good anime. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's just in the way that when I was younger and people, my friends were like, we gotta check out Fooly Cooly, and we didn't fully understand everything, and it was weird, and it had like South Park references. Dan to Dan is the one you gotta check out, and it's weird, and maybe you won't get anything, and it's got tokusatsu references, but it's awesome. And yeah, I'm so excited for Season 2. Moving on from Dan to Dan, Dan to Dan. In November 25th, we are getting the Gamera Rebirth manga released in English by Titan Books. I think this is a good thing. It's always nice when things are translated and brought over physically. I think you can already get this manga digitally in English, but having a physical version able to put on the shelf, that's just nice. I don't know if I'll pick this up, because we already said what we said about Gamera earlier, but You think you're going to be picking this one up, or probably a skip?
I might take a look into it, see if it's going to be worth the purchase and adding to my collection. It's always hit and miss with Titan, with kaiju manga. So I'll give it a look for sure. Like if it shows up at a Vault of Midnight, then
Yeah,
I'll give it a once over. So we'll see.
I definitely agree with like kaiju manga and anime. It's very rare for it to like get it right. And I don't mean like when I say get it right, I'm not saying it. Let me try to explain this. Like Kaiju number 8 is not a bad show, and the kaiju are really cool, but it never feels like Godzilla or other things like that. It always feels more anime or more different. And Evangelion, even that show, like the monsters are just so weird. I find it very rare for anime to like kind of really give us just what movies do with giant monsters. I think Gridman is one of the few anime to do it. Like things like Attack on Titan, it's like, yes, there are giant monsters there, but just the way they're presented and portrayed doesn't give off the same feelings, at least for me. Maybe it's because the monsters in anime are usually disposed of and they're not around. I don't know what it is.
I agree with you. I agree. There's a disconnect that needs to be overcome. I don't know if it's writing or if it's the style of animation, but there's something going on.
I did think about, like, the style could be... It definitely could be, because if you're going to have a 2D Godzilla, that is a really, like, hard thing to draw. And to, like, to have his tail, you know, go through a building and flip around, like... You think about Cell in Dragon Ball, and they said he was really hard to animate because of all of his spots. Godzilla's kind of the same way. He has, like, distinct markings and wrinkles all over him. If you don't draw that right in 2D, it's going to look like he's, like, meshy and transforming almost. And I can't imagine that's easy to do, and that's probably why, so far, all of our anime Godzillas have been 3D CG. At least the most recent ones.
Yep, it's just the best. It's just the better media because you have to have that detail. You're exactly right.
I forgot to say this earlier. I'm going back. We totally need Mechagodzilla in that manga, and because both anime Mechagodzillas didn't move. One of them turned into a city and laid there. The other one just we never see. They never move. My favorite monster just stuck as a statue. At least the anime city tries, but that is basically everything for upcoming media that has a date. We do have a couple things without a date I thought we'd run through. We have Ayura, which is an original kaiju film from the makers of the Gemstone Godzilla shorts, Godzilla vs. Gigan Rex and Godzilla vs. Megalon. This looks pretty cool. Just an independent kaiju movie about a giant fish monster. Looks fun. I hope we get some kind of English release, and I'm not exactly sure if it's a short film or full film. It might be around like 40 minutes or something, but definitely something to keep an eye out for. And whenever, Godzilla makers work on something, I always like to kind of support that project.
Oh yeah, we have, like, with Ayura, I'm trying to remember his... So what was the company's name again that did it?
I'm not gonna... I'm sorry.
It's okay. So Gemstone, the Gemstone creative label.
Yep.
I'm sorry that I can't remember any of the individual names from it. I love them since the Godzilla they gave us was young Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Destroya. And they confirmed it. That carrying on that legacy in some media has been like a dream of mine to see ever since I saw Godzilla vs. Destroya. So the Gemstone films, chef's kiss. I'm looking forward to Ayura.
I agree. Especially, it's like you gave us essentially Heisei, Megalon, and Gigan. I will support your work until you die. Thank you for that forever. And also, like you said, you brought Junior back. We got to see like how he would fight, and it's like maybe it's just like the sentimentalism, but I'm like, he learned so much from his dad. He's doing so good. Moving on from Ayura, we have Troll 2 coming to Netflix later this year sometime. I think this is a Norwegian kaiju film series. The first one was good. It kind of struck me as like a MonsterVerse wannabe film, like kind of like a MonsterVerse ripoff, but a high budget one, and I enjoyed it. Not the most special, not the most memorable, but it was good, and I'm looking forward to a sequel. I don't know if you checked out Troll on Netflix a year or two ago when that came out.
I did. I did check out Troll, so this will be interesting to see the story continue.
We have Noah Hawley's Alien Earth coming sometime this summer. And, I mean, you can argue if the aliens are kaiju or not. They're creatures, they're monsters. The queen gets big. This looks great. I'm excited for it. I want to see a xenomorph in someone's backyard. Give me that horror. Make the xenomorph the monster in the dark that I've always thought was there. That's like, I want those kind of shots. Like, I want a kid late at night, mom and dad aren't home. He looks out, maybe the swing's swinging, and there's it's just there. It's not scared. I want that stuff.
So we got that, and now I want you to imagine me doing the SpongeBob meme. Well, we had Alien versus Predator Requiem.
No, I couldn't see anything.
Sir, that is the one time we've gotten the aliens on Earth. It's not the second time, but it's not good.
Want to like that movie so much I refuse to watch it because I just am like, yeah, the Pred Alien was cool, and I just won't. All I'm gonna think about with that movie.
Yeah. This will be interesting. One of the best comic series or like lines that came from the Aliens comic franchise was the Earth War, when the aliens got to Earth. And so this will be interesting to me to see how this plays out.
We have, other than that, our last TV show to discuss, and our second to last thing, I guess. Hopefully, we get the return of the best kaiju of all time, the Ion Dragon, because Monarch is getting a season 2 this year. I am hyped. I hope we get more Godzilla. I think if we don't get Godzilla at all, that would be that'd be kind of rough. I expect to get Kong after season 1, how it ended and everything, but what are your hopes, wishes, dreams for Monarch season 2?
Well, I hope the Ion Dragon doesn't come back.
No! He's the best, Nick.
Sorry.
He's the best.
You're
fine.
I shouldn't be just destroying your hopes and dreams with my own.
I'm coping. That guy died. I know he's not coming back. I'm coping.
Bodied so hard. I'm looking forward to Monarch Season 2. Monarch Season 1 was great for progressing the story of Monarch and secondary characters, as well as just some information about our Titans outside of the films. But it wasn't so much so that you had to watch it to understand what was going on in the other films. It's not like the Marvel Universe where you've got to watch X, Y, and Z show because movies Z2 and Alpha 8 are going to reference all this stuff. So it's good as its own little side project. It'd be interesting if they give us some hints at our next Godzilla film. But I guess we'll see what Monarch Season 2 has in store. The legacy of monsters is a legacy indeed.
I hope they continue doing the 1950s and modern day stuff, because I think I preferred the 1950s storyline to the modern day one in that show. A lot of good actors and characters in that, though.
I would like to see where it's interesting to see how we got from Monarch then to Monarch now. So, because there's a lot of time in there.
Mm-hmm.
and I guess
I
we'll
also
see where it's
I
going.
agree with them being able to like set up the next movie too, because like they kind of have their roadmap now. We know we're getting our next film in 2027. They definitely could have taken the time between seasons to, meet, sit, and talk with everyone and be like, how can we have this lead into that? And that would be a great way to start building the hype too.
Yep.
And then our last thing to discuss. There has not been any announcements yet. We know Yamazaki is working on something. Are we going to get a Godzilla project besides the manga in 2025? Are we going to get an animated thing? Are we going to get Toho's next movie? I think it's safe to say Legendary won't give us anything, but if you had to place a bet, are you betting yes or no on Toho giving us something before the end of the year?
If anything, I think we might get a surprise trailer.
For like
or we
the
might
sequel
get
to
an
-1.
announcement. What?
You mean for Yamazaki's movie?
Yeah. I think we might get a roar and a title card. And a release date.
I could definitely see that.
I feel like they're keeping things super under wraps, but I think that what we got out of -1 and everything it brought with kind of taking our beloved kaiju in a new direction, you can't stop. You've got to keep this story going, and by the end of this year, I think I'll be surprised if they haven't been working on something behind the scenes, and they'll have at least something to give us to tell us that what they're working on.
My hope and somewhat prediction. Now, I believe when we get Godzilla Fest in November, like for his birthday, I 100% believe we're going to get exactly what you said. Like, we're going to get random updates, new merch, and here's our update on the next Godzilla movie. Title, date, Yamazaki working on it. That's it. I think there is a chance for a animated Godzilla project to appear this year. I think the chances are small, but we've had time. So Toho, from what I know, considers the anime trilogy to be a success. It brought in more viewers, it brought in a wider demographic than most Godzilla media, and you can argue it did its job. The MonsterVerse got bigger, and the -1 was super successful. Godzilla Singular Point did win quite a few awards. While it had fans somewhat mixed, it was critically acclaimed. I wonder if they've been working on their next Godzilla project, taking what they've learned from these two. Like I said, do I really, really, really think it's going to happen? Not super, but with Legendary working on their stuff, Toho working on theirs, I do see them continuing their animated projects on the side. That's my guess, is like a brand new Godzilla OVA or something.
Yeah, that's not going to stop. That's going to keep rolling, but we'll see what else we get.
Well, that sums up 2025's upcoming and currently airing tokusatsu anime media that Dyname is interested in. Our last question for each of us: what is our most hyped thing that we've talked about? We'll leave out the currently airing stuff because I'd probably just pick one of those, but out of everything coming up, what is the one you are most excited for?
For me, it's probably the Godzilla manga. Bullet Train is coming up here pretty fast. That's going to be great. But seeing a new Godzilla manga and seeing some fresh ideas injected and some returning incredible designers getting another crack at Godzilla media is going to be spectacular. It's a great blend that's going to produce something good for my favorite franchise ever.
I think... See, if I had confirmation and 100% guarantee that Char is going to keep showing up in Gundam Quacks, that'd be number one. There's just something about him, and man, I loved that. So
he has to.
I think, honestly, I can't believe I'm saying it because the manga I am hyped for, Dan to Dan, is so good. But yeah, I think Gundam Quacks. G Quacks is the one I am ready to get back into.
If from what I've seen of G Quacks is how they're taking the story and how it differs from the Universal Century timeline, yeah, we're gonna get more Char. He's become the main he become the main character.
Well, kind of. I won't spoil, but something happens to him and he's MIA. But yeah, I guess that sums it up. Thank you so much for listening. Go ahead and comment, because you can comment on Spotify now. Go ahead and comment your favorite or most hyped thing coming up. And again, if we missed something, I already said the email plenty of times, but one last time for all of you lovely people, dynamepodcast@gmail.com. No spaces or nothing, just email us there and we'll get back to you. But that's all for now. Thanks for listening and have a good one.
Have a great one.